You're listening to the Patenting for Inventors podcast with registered patent attorney, Dr. Adam Diamond, founder of Diamond Patent Law, the #1 source for securing your intellectual property needs. Now, here's your host, Adam Diamond.
Hello and welcome to the Patenting for Inventors podcast, episode 70, How to File a Trademark Application. My name is Dr. Adam Diamond, a registered patent attorney and founder and owner of Diamond Patent Law in Los Angeles, California. I can be contacted through my website at diamondpatentlaw.com, that's D-I-A-M-E-N-T, patentlaw.com, or if it's too hard to remember, you can get to it through patentingforinventors.com, that's patentingforinventors.com, or call me at 424-281-0162. And while most attorneys can only practice in states where they're members of that state's bar, patent attorneys are actually allowed to practice patent law in any state, so feel free to contact me regardless of where you live. As I mentioned in my last two episodes, this podcast is really focused on patenting and not other areas of intellectual property like trademarks, but you should at least be aware of the other areas of intellectual property, so I decided to do a few episodes on trademarks. And there probably can be an entire podcast show on trademarks, just like I have for my patent show, with just as many episodes. So I don't want to diminish the importance of trademarks. It's just not my focus. In the first episode of trademarks, I talked about how to pick a name that isn't descriptive and that is at least suggestive of what your product or business is about, or even picking a name that's arbitrary or fanciful. In the last episode, I talked about how to find out some basic information on if somebody already has your trademark or something similar to it, which might prevent you from getting a trademark. As I said in the last episode, your basic search on the USPTO trademark website is a good starting point, but it's not an exhaustive search as a specialized trademark search company or an attorney can do, which will give you a lot more information and may give you an opinion on how likely your mark can be registered. But let's say you did your research and you want to file a trademark. What do you do next? How do you actually file a trademark application? In theory, it's pretty easy. It's not nearly as complicated as drafting and filing a patent application. There can be all kinds of things that go wrong, so if you want to avoid that, you might want to use an attorney, but there are lots of people who do it themselves, and a lot more people file trademarks themselves than patents on their own. You can get to the website to apply online by searching in Google for Trademark Apply Online United States. One of the first links that will come up should be a USPTO.gov website about applying online. If you click that, you'll get to a page where it says Apply Online, and there's a link for first-timers that says Get the Basic Information Before Filing. I'd recommend clicking that link and going over all the information. The Trademark Office has lots of really cheesy videos about the whole process, and honestly, you can probably get more information from there than you can by my short podcast episode, which doesn't have any video. But let's say you want to go forward. Here's the information that you need. You'll hopefully find a link on a page where you can actually file your application online. Currently, the website is www.uspto.gov/trademarks/teas/index.jsp. Maybe that will change, but you should be able to find links to it from the USPTO website. You'll see that there are 3 different costs for filing. One is called TEAS Plus, one is TEAS Reduced Fees, and one is TEAS Regular. And currently they're either $225, $275, or $400. Most of you should be able to do the TEAS Plus or TEAS Reduced Fee if you're doing everything online. You can see a chart of the differences, but the main difference between the $225 and the $275 options is picking your goods and services. Let's say you want to do a trademark for and have it on hats and shirts. The Trademark Office already has a manual where those items already have a code and description. And if you agree only to use the goods and services that are already in the trademark manual, then it's $225. But if you have some items that you want to trademark and you're not sure if the manual describes those marks completely, with how you're going to be using them, then you pay $275. Some people like to be safe and just pick the $275 option, but other people like to save $50 and to stick with the goods and services that are already in the manual. I'm going to make this easy and do the TEAS Plus application. What you're going to do is click the option under Initial Application Form for the TEAS Plus application. How the application looks in future years, if you're listening to this podcast, may be different. I can only go over how it looks now. The first question is whether an attorney is filing this application. Click the box that says no. The next question is whether you have a saved file. Assuming you're starting from scratch, don't select any file and then just click continue. It's going to ask you the owner of the mark. If it's you as an individual person, write your name. Maybe it's a company name, and then you have to click what kind of business, whether it's a corporation or an LLC or something else. I'm just going to click individual to make this easy, and a drop-down menu appears where you select your country of citizenship. I'm just going to pick United States. Then there are boxes for putting in your address, phone number, fax, email, and website. Some of these items are required and they have a red star, others aren't required. There are actually links on the forum for watching instructional videos on how to do all of this. So if you have any questions about any of the pages, just watch the video there and there's a good chance your question will be answered. Then click continue for the next page. On this page, you'll have to give some information about the mark. There are 3 options. One is standard characters, one is specialized form, and one is sound mark. You're probably not going to be doing a sound mark, and you have to decide whether you're doing a standard characters or a special form. Special form we could think of most of the time as just a logo. If you're just doing the name of something and it doesn't matter how it looks, that's just standard characters. Because I'm keeping this simple, that's the one that we're going to do. Then there's a box where you enter the mark. Let's say you want to trademark one word, and I'm just going to, make up something called Bling Me. And you plan to put that on shirts and hats, sweatshirts, and pants. You type in Bling Me, and then you click Continue. You'll see a box about additional statements, but that doesn't apply if you're just doing this as a TEAS Plus application, but it's possible your mark might need to be filed under the higher TEAS Reduced Fees application. And there's a list of reasons right in the box about how and why that might apply to you. Maybe your word is a translation of a foreign word, or your mark has someone's name in it, and you have to have consent to use their name. There's several reasons, but we're just doing a basic simple one, and assuming none of these special reasons apply. On the next page, you have the goods and services information. Click the box that says goods/services, and you get to a search bar. So type in shirts. You'll see all kinds of different shirts and descriptions, and most of them will say International Class 25. If you're really specific about the type of shirts that you're using or that you plan to use, you can click those boxes for other descriptions that you're going to use it in. You can click as many as you want, but if you want the single filing fee of $225, they all have to be in the same class, and here that's Class 25. If you pick things that aren't in Class 25, for example, you can see something that says shirt buttons, and that's Class 26. That's different, and there will be added fees. So once you click all the boxes that apply to how you're going to use this mark, go to the bottom and click Insert Checked Entries. Now we also want to do hats. So click Add Goods and Services again, and you can see you type in hats. You can see lots of descriptions of hats. It's also Class 25, which is good because everything is the same class. That's the same class is going to have one fee. Click Insert Checked Entries. Add goods and services again, type in pants. You'll see lots of pants descriptions. There's one just called pants, and you can check that box. It's also Class 25. And the last thing I wanted to pick was sweatshirts. So I do a search for that. Sweatshirts pops up as International Class 25. So we check that box. You can also check the box for hooded sweatshirts if you plan to do hooded sweatshirts. All other types of very specific types of sweatshirts. You can click those boxes if they apply to you. So now we picked everything that we plan to use for our mark. And now you have to select something that's really important, which is the basis for filing. I'm assuming that you're not picking a trademark because you already trademarked something in a foreign country. So you're going to decide between Section 1A filing and Section 1B filing. If you're already using your mark, then it's a Section 1A filing. And if you aren't using your mark yet, but intend to do so, then you select Section 1B. For now, let's say you're already using your mark, so select 1A. You go to a page and there's some things that you need to do. The first is to attach a specimen. A specimen is just really an example of how your mark is being used. Click the button that says Attach or Remove Specimen, and then you can upload an image, probably a JPEG, it could be a PDF, of the use of your mark on your good. There are all sorts of rules on what kinds of specimens are allowed as proof. If it's clothing, you ideally want your mark to be on a tag. It could be on packaging. Website screenshots are allowed. It can get a little complicated, and there are instructions on that page on what counts as an allowable specimen and what doesn't. Then there's a box for a description of the specimen. So you might say, tag on the collar of a shirt showing the mark. Then you have to fill in 2 dates. One date is your first use of the mark anywhere, and one is the first use of the mark in commerce. Remember that you can only get trademarks for federal usage. And for most people, that means using your mark across state lines. So if you're only selling in one state, the first time you sold in that state is going to be your first use, or maybe the first license that you made, or an advertisement, all within like one state. Then for the first use of the mark in commerce, it's going to generally be the first time you sold interstate. If you don't remember the exact date, but it's the latest date that you think that you can prove. It's generally better to make your date later than to make it earlier, because you don't want to be accused of lying about using your mark earlier. But you do want to make it the earliest possible provable date that you started using your mark. After you're done with that, you click the box that says Assign Filing Basis. Then on the next screen, you put in some correspondence information. Some of it will be filled in already. You can put in a reference number, Click Next, and then you have a declaration. You should read through it, but basically it's saying that everything you put into the application is true, and there's some boxes to check. The fee will be listed on that page. There will be some electronic ways to sign. An electronic signature is a /, then your name, and another /. Then you put in your name, your position. If you're an individual, you enter owner in the position. Then you click Validate. You put in your email, and there's a button to click Pay/Submit. And after you do that, there's some payment options, and the easiest way is by credit card. You click Submit, and then you're done. You'll get an email receipt, and then you just have to wait for the trademark office to review your application. I'm not going to go into all the different things that can happen with a review of your application because this is not really a podcast, trademark podcast show, but I just want to show you how to actually file a mark. I do want to go back a couple steps though, just in case you're not using the mark yet, but you intend to. If that's the case, you select Section 1B on the page where you selected your goods and services. This actually makes the application a little bit easier because you don't need to submit a specimen or write any dates of use down because you haven't done anything with that with your mark. You do have to enter in all that information later when you actually start using your mark, but at least for the application filing part, you don't put that in yet. The rest of the screens are identical about the correspondence information, the e-signatures, the declarations, the payments. And that's really about it for basic trademark application filing. And for now, this will be the end of the trademarks in this podcast. Maybe in the future, I'll come back to do trademarks for some reason. But starting next week, we're going to be going back to the exciting world of patents. And if you want help with your patent application, trademarks, responding to rejections, appeals, or anything else related to your invention, you can contact me through my website at patentingforinventors.com. That's patentingforinventors.com, or call Diamond Patent Law at 424-281-0162. I'm Adam Diamond, and until next time, keep on inventing.
Thanks for listening to the Patenting for Inventors podcast with host Adam Diamond. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review on iTunes. The contents of this podcast are intended for general informational purposes only. The facts of every legal matter are unique, and the content of this podcast should not be construed as offering legal advice for your specific legal situation. For more information and help with your own intellectual property needs, contact Adam Diamond at patentingforinventors.com. That's patentingforinventors.com. Or call Diamond Patent Law at 424-281-0162. The preceding information may be considered an attorney advertisement and does not establish any attorney-client relationship.